Now today is quite a historic occasion, and the reason for that is because for the first time ever we are league racing at Jeddah. Now up until this point we've seen the real thing, we've also done some offline races, but this is my first ever serious competitive race around here where you try to push on the limit every single time. Now for this one, before we jump into it, we're going to quickly give you a recap. So if you haven't seen the previous episode at Portimao, then go check it out, guys. The link will be up in the top right hand corner of your screen. But in the meantime, just a bit of a quick roundup. We had, after Portimao, we had Imola. There was a bit of a change in the calendar, and that race went terribly for me, so there's no even highlights of that one. And we're here for Jeddah, the penultimate race of the season. Right now we are P8 in the Drivers' Championship, and looking at the table here, I think we could potentially get a top 5. You know, Simon Perigny is my target, possibly even further ahead of that, depends how it goes. But for now though, we're going to jump into my best lap in Q1. So, standard procedure in Q1, we went on the inters to get a bit of a feel for the track. We then switched to mediums, went for 2 laps on those, and my current best lap you can see in the top right. And now we've switched to the softs, and we've switched for the very last part of the session, and we're only going to get 1 lap in, so we have to nail it. Maximum pressure. All we've got to do really is keep it safe. Make sure we're not driving too conservative, and also don't pick up a warning for track limits, because that will invalidate your lap. So far, a 30.2 in the first sector, which is not that great. Not terrible, but not that great, as Tomek Poradzic goes fastest. Meanwhile, into the second sector now, we got through the hairpin, and now into this right-left chicane. Not many, corners here that are important. There is a lot of corners, I think 27 corners in this track, but only, a handful of them matter. And it's a bit like Austria, where there's only 10 corners of that track, and every single one matters, so you have to do perfect. And this one right here, bit of a correction as we go under the hotel. Not fully committed, a bit safe, carrying some respectable corner speed as we now keep it super tight through this DRS straight. And now making our way into the final corner. Important here to not ruin the lap like Verstappen did in real life. Down to 3rd gear, then back up to 4th. Trying to get the traction down as we open the DRS now and keep it tight to the left as we run up to the line. And it's going to be a 1:26.9 for us in Q1. That moves us into P11. Will it be enough to get into Q2? The answer is yes. P12 for us in the end of Q1. Half a second off the pace. Tomek, I believe, was really, really quick. He's been practicing, I think, a bit more than everybody else in this one, as he was returning to the league for this race. In Q2, though, I tried my luck on a used set of soft tyres. And you see that we get an invalidation for, cutting the track underneath the hotel. Now, you join me for my best lap in Q2, and one that we hit pretty nicely. Down to turn 1, braking as the curb appears, 3rd gear, cut the inside curbs of both 1 and 2, and then run it up to the wall on the exit. Pretty sweet. Now into the S's. Important here to be committed and cut that first bit, then run it as close to the wall as you dare. It's all about momentum, it's all about flow, and not losing the car or the back end as we make our way through the final section. Running a bit wide, struggling with some understeer through there. Didn't quite get as close as I would have liked to the walls, and we only do a 30.1 in the first sector, which is a PB, but it's not great. You kind of want to be in the high 29s as we make our way through the banking. Now into this next section. This is where the lap's perfect. You'll see here, right up against the limit, they're on the white line through the chicane, and then we brush the wall on the exit.
No issues with tyre wear for now. Keep taking care of them.
And you can see there a mop of the brows. We get away with car damage, and now watch this for commitment underneath the hotel. Right on the limit there as we try to maximise lap time. If you pause the frame, we were right at the white line underneath the hotel as we now make our way towards the final corner, keeping the car super tight to the left. And now, don't ruin the lap, spot the braking at about 60 metres. This time we get a lot closer to the wall on the left, and also on the exit as well, brushing it as we try to get the power down, running up to the line. And what is the lap going to be here with 4 minutes to go in Q2? It's a 26.6, and we go P2 at the time behind Luke Smith. We move on to the end of Q2. I managed to squeeze in one more attempt, but unfortunately straight away I got hit with a slam dunk invalidation and threw that away. Now we're currently P6, other cars are improving, so it's not in our hands. We'll see if we get to Q3 or not. In the meantime, I wanted to push and see what the pace was, and you can see through here actually, there's about, even on a not so perfect one, there's still a good 3/4 of a tenth in the first sector alone as I eventually back off as I messed up my exit. Nonetheless, though, crucially, we've got into Q3. We survived. Our previous lap was good enough. And we're into the final part of qualifying, along with Tomek, Pedreño, Perigny, Jake Benham, Jarno Otmir as well. And we get in P. Now, we got in by just over a tenth, so yeah, we'll take that. Into Q3 though, I used, I believe, a scrub set of tyres for this first lap. And it was going pretty well, but on the S's, you'll see here, push the limit a bit too much, and I just run a fraction wide and invalidate. Not bad for a sector. Now, we did do a 30.1. I'm watching it back. The sector still isn't great. It's quite poor, and I'm losing a lot of time on the table. Nonetheless, though, we wanted to do a 26.7. Not bad. Not a bad banker. And we'll have that delta now for the next run. And that's the plan. So we've got a 26.7 on our delta as our reference. And there you can see on my final push lap here, we are up currently on the previous best, making our way onto the back straight. And we're about half a tenth up. So that's putting us at least in a mid 26.6, which is what we've done in Q2. Underneath the hotel section now, though, carrying the speed, we just go a bit too fast and invalidate as we overcommit. And yeah, unfortunately, it wasn't to be. 26. Wow, fucking hell. Fair enough. Now, we can see we're a 10th up here currently, so we would have been on for maybe a high 5 at best. I think there was more in it, though. Again, the first sectors just were letting me down. They were so poor. My second, and there's also my third sector, were really strong. My third sector was probably one of the best ones out there, as we do a 26.64. But yeah, it's a frustrating end to qualifying after getting to Q3, having a good qualifying up until this point. We didn't quite deliver. I only practiced 15 minutes for this one in time trial, so I wasn't super practiced compared to other races. But the pace was there. So even though we're P10 and we're going to have to start on the softs, which is probably the worst place to be, the good thing is we haven't raced there before, so no one knows what to do. And also, I trust my race pace. I think I'm pretty quick around here, and qualifying didn't tell the full story. Also, traditionally, my race pace is stronger anyway. So, yeah, we should get stronger as the race goes on. So, yeah, that's it for qualifying. We're now going to move into the race. Speaking of which, here we go. The 5 lights are on as we get ready for 25 laps of Saudi Arabia. 5 lights, and we're underway here as we get a great start off the line here, getting the jump on Thomas Harvey and Luke Smith. Down to turn 1, though, we're going to be a little bit cautious as it's our first race start online here. I don't know what to expect. It's all very tight. I'm just being a little bit careful here. So far unscathed, making our way into the S's then. Again, we're going to probably fall into line and go single file. It's quite hard to make things happen on the first lap here in the game because you don't really want to go side by side. Track limits will be key. If I can keep my nose clean, that would be pretty good. And yeah, track limits will be key around here. As you saw in qualifying, it did play a part, and it will play a part in the race. But yeah, going side by side with this is not really what you want around here, to be honest. Also, damage could happen if you brush a wall. And that is another reason, because if you're side by side, you know, the car alongside you doesn't give you the room. You're putting a lot of trust in them, and if you hit the wall, it's most likely going to be game over. So it's going to be a race of attrition, patience, track limits, and wall brushing and minor damage are going to be really, really key factors. So yeah, right now we're just kind of falling in line. We're going to see where our pace is compared to everybody else. The good thing about me and my strategy is that even though I'm P10 on softs, because we set our lap midway through Q2, I was able to do that in-lap myself, rather than give the control to the game. So we've actually got a bit better tyre wear. So we've got around 3 to 4% compared to having 6 to 7%, which is what the game would give you. In the meantime, though, end of lap 1, we've got some battling here up ahead as we make our way into lap 2. So we might see some position changing here into turn 1, turn 2. You can see there we've got the Haas of Luke Smith having a look up the inside of Pedreño and Jake Benham. 3 wide here briefly as multiple cars swap places, and we're just trying to be patient here. I don't want to get involved into a battle that might end up hurting us. We've got the medium runners behind, and I don't really want to fall behind them because that will really hurt our strategy. So for now, we're just going to watch, our space, mind the gap, and be patient. If an opportunity presents itself, we'll be sure to take full advantage of it. So end of lap 2 now, and you can see up ahead there's a bit of a gap ahead of Jake Benham starting to form. I think the top 5 DRS around here are starting to break away. As you hear me say, ERS, it's quite easy to save. Onto lap 3 though, I'm going to commit on the brakes up the inside of Pedreño. He does leave room. I also make sure to not lock up and run wide into him. We leave it fair on the exit, very close to the wall as we almost have contact, but we keep it clean but unfortunately we don't gain a place and we have to forfeit and accept P10 for now. On to lap 4. 1 lap later, we've got some more action up ahead of us. We set a personal best and also a purple sector 3. We're going to see if we can start to prepare this overtake. You know, it's been 4 laps now as we get our first warning for track limits cutting at turn 2. It's been 4 laps. I know where the limit is and I feel quite fast, so I want to start making some moves now, make some progress. If we can get past 2 or 3 or 4 cars before the pit stop phase, that would be perfect, because then on the mediums I think we can do some damage. So yeah, right now you can see here we're on the back of Pedreño still, end of lap 5, and the train is getting closer and closer together as we all bunch up on track. The guys in mediums also behind, just starting to drop back a little bit as we go purple in sector 3 again. And to turn 1, are we going to go for the lunge once more? No, not this time, but there is a contact up ahead there between Jake Benham and I think Chana Kinchi in the Alpine, and we're going to get involved, but we can't quite benefit. Heading into the S's though, we're going to see 2 wide here between Harvey and Pedreño. Also, Kinchi off the track. There's contact right there as the Alpine gets squeezed, and we get away with it as luckily a Kinchi goes. Also, Jake Benham off the track as well. And within 3 corners, we're up to P7 and behind Thomas Harvey here. So, absolute chaos as it seems like people started to get a bit impatient. And all of a sudden, just like that, at the snap of the fingers, it started to get a bit dirty, and luckily we had our car placed at the right place at the right time and we avoid damage. So 3 places gained. This is going to really help us make some progress now as we've gotten a big chunk of cars out of the way, and we're now going to challenge Thomas. Place is good. I can try to drive away. Now the plan here is to try and make up for lost time, because we've lost DRS on Luke Smith and Luke Smith has lost DRS on the leaders, so we need to kind of reform that DRS train. Almost followed them off track on this, huh? Now we're going to get past Thomas Harvey here. You're going to see for the first time the power of the DRS combined with the ERS and also my setup, which is pretty low on the wings, hence why my first sectors weren't that great, and it gives us some pretty insane straight line speed. Now the setup is painful in qualifying because you lose a lot of time in the first sector, but for the race it works really well. Thomas Harvey here coming back again. The inside open, but he didn't want it. Now we are kind of indirectly working together here. We're not battling, we're not defending against each other, because the plan here is to get within that DRS range of Luke Smith. And you'll see here now, we're actually going to get the run and passing, even without ERS. Look at the straight line speed here as we got up the inside. The gap to Luke Smith now is just about a second, and I think we may have just nicked some DRS, possibly. No, not quite. So we didn't quite make it, and the gap has just gone back over a second. But what I'm going to do is stay ahead of Thomas Harvey. I don't want him to pass me because I want to be the first one to get an attack on Luke Smith. So we use a bit of battery to stay ahead, and we can now start to challenge Luke as a few cars started to pit on that lap. Now, I didn't know what lap to pit. You know, the strategy is unknown around here for league racing. It seems like you can have quite a wide pit stop window anywhere between lap 7 to lap 10. Now, here's the plan. We've managed to get ourselves within the DRS range of Luke Smith, and he has no ERS left. I can see his light flashing at times from a distance, and we've done the job. We've managed to get within a second, and now it's all about timing and making this pass at the right moment. So we could pass him here on the pit straight. I could drain my battery and go for it because I know he's not going to defend, as we're going to have more cars in the pit lane, I believe. That's Caden Lott. I'm going to try and charge a bit of battery if I can. You can see here, Luke's light is flashing quite heavily. So I know he's got less than 10% battery left compared to me. I've got a lot left over. Now, Luke didn't pit that lap, and neither did I. But now we are. And I've got a feeling Luke's going to join us because it's only Yana who's staying out there. So now is the time to pit. So now is the time to pass. And you can see here, we just waited for the right moment, and we're going to pass him easily around the outside using minimal ERS as we make our way into the final corner. And we're now going to go into the pits in first place ahead of Luke Smith. So we're going to get the jump, and because we have the esports pit entry, we're not going to get jumped in the pits. I'm not sure how to take that pit entry, to be fair. I don't know, I just stick between the white lines or not. I just kind of took a chance, really. And you can hear me say there, I know the pit lane limits on pit entry and pit exit are a bit dodgy with penalties, so I didn't know what to do, but luckily that seemed to work, and we lost a bit of time, but still, Jarno stayed out there for at least one more lap as we rejoin and get back underway. So mediums on, we've made them soft go nice and long, and the strategies worked out beautifully. We kept it clean, made the overtakes when it mattered on Thomas Harvey and Luke Smith, and now we're still ahead. And also Thomas Harvey went for the undercut. It hasn't worked, he's still behind us and behind Luke Smith. So everything's going well. Now you can see the gap ahead to Caden Lott. It's 3.3 seconds and Perini 4 seconds, and those guys are in the lead pack and the lead group. So we need to try and work together here. Myself, Luke Smith and Thomas Harvey, we need to work together to try and cut the gap down. So you can see here, Luke's going to get the run. I'm not going to use any ERS. We're not going to defend. We're not going to fight, as Jarno finally pits 2 laps later. So Jarno's going to have pretty fresh mediums. There he is right there, just rejoining the track. So he's going to be behind Perigny and Caden Lott and Tomek Peradzic. So yeah, right now, it's looking like we need to work to cut down this gap, which currently is 2.2 seconds between Luke Smith and Jarno Otmir. So that's what we're going to do. On to the end of lap 12, you can see here the gap is down to 1.6. Luke Smith actually went purple. He was using all of his battery, and I was following him. So, you know, Luke was doing a good job here of pulling along and draining and using a lot of battery for the calls. And you can see now, lap 13, I know he's got no battery left because of what he used as we cut. Fuck, I thought it was going to be okay, to be honest with you. Got to be careful. And that is a big issue, a second warning for track limits, and a bit of a silly one, you know, just a loss of focus. Nonetheless, going back to what I was saying, you see the gap right now is 1.7 seconds between Luke and Jarno. So the gap is still coming down. The front 4 are not battling too much, so they're driving a bit slowly, and Luke's using his battery. So I'm now going to pass him and leapfrog him and use my battery reserves to try and help cut down that gap a bit more, because we have to try and nullify the DRS effect of the cars ahead in the DRS train. So you see here we passed Luke, and now we've got guys on the all-strat coming in for the softs, including Jeffrey Ritchie as well. Into turn 1 though, Luke doesn't pass us. I'm going to have a lap on my own to try and pull away and cut the gap down. We've got more cars in the pits. Luke, again, nowhere near passing. I think he's trying to charge his battery a little bit, which I understand. And yeah, now lap 15, we have multiple moving chess pieces now, because at this stage of the race, Luke's going to pass us. We have the guys on the alternate strategy who are coming back through the field, and they're going to be really fast. So we're not just trying to catch the cars ahead, we're also trying to watch out for the ones behind on softs. So yeah, Jeffrey Ritchie set the fastest lap. You can see here Luke's light flashing again as he runs out of battery into turn 1. Nice and calm now, just got to try and charge the battery up. Luke's completely out, so he won't be hard to pass on the straight. Now, battery is king around here. It's going to be the ultimate key to success. If you can charge up your ERS, it's going to be really, really important. And in the meantime, you see in the background here, the top 4 have been battling this lap, and they've lost a lot of time. And now, Luke Smith has brought us all within DRS contention. We're now all back into one big DRS train. So the hard work is done, and now we have to start preparing and planning for the final stages of the race. So at this point, I knew Luke had not a lot of ERS left over, and I'd been saving a little bit. So I know I've got that ace up my sleeve, I've got that upper hand. And you can see here we're really close onto the back of the Haas, making our way into the back straight. And he runs a bit wider, which gives me the invitation to have a look. He hasn't got any battery, I can afford to go here. And you can hear me say he's got no battery, so I'm going to just risk it. And I'm going to drain all of my ERS, hopefully to get ahead before the brake zone. Here we go, on the brakes, up the inside. As we head into the hotel section, we make that crucial overtake, and now I'm going to keep using my battery. I've got the battery, so I know I can go. And you can hear me say, I'm going to use my battery to stay ahead and get onto the back of Perigny. Luke Smith knows what's happening here, and he can smell the danger. He's going to try and lunge one back up the inside of turn 1. Sorry, the final corner, my bad. And we're going to have to fight back, so we get the traction down. It's going to be a drag race. Again, I know I've got the battery here. And again, I know I've got the battery, so we're going to use that battery to just edge ahead. Down to turn 1 we go. I'm pretty good on the brakes here, but Luke commits on the brakes. He's going to fight back. We just about have room to hold it around the outside as we get into a traction battle out of turn 2. We're still side by side. Then again, I've got the battery. I know I've got the upper hand, and this time we make it work around the outside, and we are up to P5. Now then, we have Perigny ahead of us. Also Caden Lott, Jarno Otmir, and Tomek Peradzic. So that's the situation heading into the final laps. Tomek has penalties, and I think it's 8 seconds right now. I think he's going to get 3 seconds removed, but the 5 are going to stay. In the meantime, Jeffrey Ritchie and Softs fighting through the field on the alternate strategy, has a 3-second penalty, but he is fast. I won't fight Jeffrey too hard on the softs. Now, we're not going to fight him too much if he does pass me, because he might actually be an ace up my sleeve. In the meantime, Caden Lott and Simon Perigny battling here, and we're going to benefit from this as we get a beautiful exit and just breeze past the Alpine, who was forced wide. And now we get a clear shot at Caden Lott to try and pass him and make the move up into the podium places. So I know I've got the upper hand. Again, I've got loads of battery to use, and we can definitely afford to drain it if necessary.
Anybody know how much battery Caden has?
You can hear me say, I'm asking my Twitch chat, how much battery does Caden have? Can anybody tell me? Just so I know what kind of cards I'm playing with, you know, at the table here in this little poker game of DRS, ERS. Nonetheless, in the meantime though, you can see Caden trying to pull away. I think he was running higher wings than me because he was faster in the corners, but on the straights, I had the upper hand, and now this is my part of the track where I benefit.
Okay, Caden's got no ERS.
Now you can see Caden has no battery, his light is flashing, so he's a sitting duck. He's got less than 10%, and we've still got one more DRS train coming up here, or DRS straight should I say, and we're going to breeze past. It's going to be mincemeat, easy work. You can see here Caden has nothing to do as we have the upper hand. Now, we've got the P3, we don't have a penalty, and Tomek does. So right now we are P2 on track behind Jarno. The issue is the front two are out of my DRS range, and what we have to do now is work to get within a second of Tomek and Jarno. We set a personal best, and these two are battling into turn one as Tomek's going to lead the way. You can see here the gap is 1.1 seconds. So I'm going to make the choice and the conscious decision to drain my battery here to try and get within a second, which we managed to achieve right there, which is where the detection point is. So now we have DRS on Jarno Otmir and Tomek Karadzic heading into the final couple of laps. Crucial moment in this race. So lap 23, Jeffrey Ritchie is still flying on those soft tyres. They're still working well for him, and he's in the back of us and looking dangerous. I have to make a choice in terms of what I do here as Jarno goes for the move on Tomek for the race lead with 2 laps to go here. We're reaching a critical phase. I've got plenty of battery to use, and I can use it, and I'm saving it because I think I can win this race. Having said that, that's what's going through my mind at this point, but then that is when the mistakes started to happen. I had a flawless race since I got the 2 warnings, but at this point, right here, I just bonked the wall.
We've been awarded a time
that's so annoying.
We'll go against our
And
finishing time
we're
at the end of the
struggling
race.
here as we brush up against multiple
No need to worry
walls,
about tyre
and
condition for now.
I'd been in the zone for so long. I made one little mistake and we started clunking the barriers, making mistakes, struggling with the back end and making errors and getting the penalty.
Let's keep going. We can still get something out of this.
Now you can hear me say we can still get something out of this race.
All of a sudden now though, I cannot let Jeffrey Ritchie go past. It just goes to show, man, if you lose your flow, one mistake, you lose your flow, you're in trouble.
And yeah, that is kind of the name of the game. If you lose your focus, it's a bit like Monaco. If you make a mistake, suddenly you start making loads of them. We'll make another one there as we brush the wall. Luckily, no damage. But look at this, Jeffrey Ritchie going for the move.
See, I've lost my flow.
Fuck. And you can see though, his light's flashing, so he has no ERS left over. And right now, we've just got to take a deep breath and analyze the situation. So onto the last lap, you can see everybody around us has penalties, so we're essentially battling on neutral ground. So basically whoever finishes across the line first wins the race. So Jarno and Tomek are going to battle here. Last lap of the race, side by side between the 2 Mercedes drivers. It's going to go down to the wire, and it's going to be a fierce battle.
Get away with this.
Jeffrey Ritchie is going to be P3 for now. You can hear me say in the background, I think we're going to get away with this because look at behind, the gap to Jordan in P6 is 2.3, and if we can just push that to 3 seconds, it doesn't matter with the penalty, we're going to be okay. So yeah, right now I'm just being clever. I've got loads of battery left. I've got 45 to 50% to use on this entire last lap, and you guys know with my setup what's coming up here. We've got some big straights, and this kind of second and third sector suits my car a lot more. So we can't win the race. Jarno's going to win it because I got the penalty, which is a bit of a shame, but we can still finish in second place. Tomek has 8 seconds. He's going to get 3 seconds removed. And Jeffrey, of course, and all the cars around us also have 3 seconds. So right now, all we've got to do is beat Jeffrey to the line, and we are P2. Underneath the hotel, you can see Jeffrey's light is flashing. We get a great run, and now is when we're going to deploy. We're going to use every last bit of the battery here to get this move done. Jarno is going to do the exact same thing with Tomek as we do literally carbon copy overtakes into the final corner. We get boxed in, so that allows Jeffrey to go back up the inside. I'm going to take the wide line into the final corner. I could see it happening. We struggle for traction, but on the run to the line, we've got the ERS to take the line. Fucking come on. Yes. Fuck yes. And just like that, boom, P2. What a result. Very, very happy with that. Great race. and even with the penalty, it didn't matter in the end. So happy days, a really strong performance, and probably my best race in the dry on this game. I know I won in Canada in WOR in the wet. There was a bit of obviously that was a different race. I can't really compare a wet race to a dry race, but you know, out of all the dry races, this is my best one in the game so far. You know, the race pace after a bit of a messy qualifying, and let myself down from P10 to P2, knowing when to stay out of incidents. You know, the 3-car incident on lap 7, and then also the Simon Perigny Caden Lott incident as well, but then also knowing when to make the moves on Jeffrey Ritchie, you know, and also Luke Smith and Thomas Harvey at the right time. I think the strategy was perfect. You know, we timed our pit stop to perfection. The ERS management was on point, and that's a good thing. When you're running a low downforce setup with low wings, you can save more battery than when you're running higher wings. So I was able to have that upper hand and the ace up my sleeve the entire time, and I think I could have won the race. The penalty ruined it, but I think had I not got the penalty, I would have pushed on a bit more, but my approach changed, because the minute I got the penalty, you have to be more tactical, and I knew I just had to beat Jeffrey Ritchie to the line, so I didn't have to battle so hard as I would have done if I wanted to win the race. So it was all about the right timing and doing things the proper way, and we managed to do it on the run to the line with a photo finish. But anyway, there's a lot for today, guys. WR Jeddah, a great success. If you enjoyed the race, leave a like, subscribe for more daily F1 content on my channel. As always, check out the 2 videos on screen if you haven't seen them. But that is it from me here today, and I'll see all of you in the next one. Until then, take care, and it's goodbye from me.